Trump, in his Time Person of the Year interview, said that lowering grocery prices was going to be, quote, very hard. He said, quote, look, they got them up, referring, I guess, to the Biden administration. I'd like to bring them down. It's hard to bring things down once they're up. It's very hard, but I think that they will. I think that energy is going to bring them down. I think a better supply chain is going to bring them down. So this is about as close as you can get for Trump admitting that he was full of S-H-I-T. Am I right, Dad?
Right. He doesn't usually admit it. Look, I won this election because of grocery prices. I told you I would slash them dramatically. Once I got the election certificate, forget it. I don't even have to run again in 4 years because I'm constitutionally barred. So I'll tell you now that was all a pile of nonsense. No way I'm going to reduce grocery prices. We'll
And
talk for a moment about, yeah,
and you said for a long
way
time that,
back then.
right, you can't reduce the prices of groceries unless you hit a major recession.
Exactly. Unless you throw everyone out of work, cut your standard of living, cut real wages. It's the only way to reduce grocery prices. But, this is a rare admission by Donald Trump, but it is absolutely nothing new. What did Donald Trump promise about the border wall?
That he was going to build it and Mexico was going to pay for it.
Yeah, did that ever happen? Was that ever, ever a possibility?
No.
No. What did he tell you he was going to do about the deficit when he got elected last time?
Reduce it.
Dramatically, maybe even cut into the debt, which would mean you would have a surplus. And what was the reality? He added probably a record trillions of dollars to the deficit. Remember, a long time ago, he told you, I'm going to introduce a new healthcare plan that's going to be better than the Affordable Care Act. And what has he done in the years since, Sam?
He's come up with concepts of a plan, but he hasn't vocalized those concepts.
Not even gotten to vocalizing concepts, much less developing an actual plan. He said we're going to have a huge infrastructure day under the Trump administration. We're going to rebuild our roads, our bridges, our airports. And what happened to infrastructure day, Sam?
The Biden administration did most of the
Exactly. It didn't
infrastructure
happen
work.
until
Yeah.
the Biden administration. So making extravagant promises is nothing new. Breaking those promises is nothing new either. The only thing new here is, maybe because he never has to run again, let's hope, democracy continues to function. He's willing to say it was all bullshit. You elected me on a completely bogus and phony basis. Ha ha. I've got 4 years and there's nothing any of you can do about it.
You know what I find weird is politicians often get criticized for, talking out of both sides of their mouths or making false promises, and rightfully so. But
Of
somehow,
course.
again, the Teflon Don, he seems to be able to talk out of both sides of the mouth, make false promises, and nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to criticize him. They see him as this change, this outsider, but he makes as many false promises as any career politician does.
Oh, far more and much more extravagant false promises
How
than
come he
career.
never gets? How come nobody ever blames him for that kind of shit?
How come he's lied more than all previous presidents and presidential candidates in the history of the country combined, and nobody seems to care? I just got this communication today from a guy who wanted to interview me, and he said, "We're entering now, in our new age of truth, and we're eliminating fraud, a new age of truth under Donald Trump. I got a big bridge to sell you in my hometown of Brooklyn, and all of this, very much ties in to something that I've been talking about, the new age of disinformation. Once you dissolve truth, and Trump seems to have dissolved truth and completely gotten away with it, then everything else falls apart. Truth is the pillar on which human rights, civil rights, and democracy is erected. Once you knock out the foundation of truth, and everything else crumbles along with it. And that is really, really sad. As we've said, the only way you reduce prices is to run us into a recession. Now, Donald Trump says, oh, it's really hard, but again, he's given us, a pack of nonsense. I'm going to reduce prices by ramping up energy. Well, energy is already at a record in the United States. We actually export energy. No way, drilling and mining is going to have any impact on prices whatsoever. In fact, as we know, prices have come, not prices, but inflation has come down from over 9% to under 3%, better than two-thirds reduction. That's the best you can do. You're not going to actually cut prices without destroying the economy, which could happen under Trump. Well, it happened once, and he says, "Oh, it was an external force, the pandemic." No, it wasn't. It was Donald Trump's mishandling of the pandemic. His own head of his COVID-19 task force, Dr. Deborah Birx, testified. Unfortunately, after the election, although it didn't matter, about how badly he mishandled the pandemic and how it cost hundreds of thousands of American lives and likely drove us into that awful recession. So it wasn't some external force, it was how you dealt with the external force impinging itself on American society. Now, supply chains, he didn't tell you how he's going to improve supply chains, right?
Well, doesn't he want to add tariffs? Wouldn't that destroy all supply chains essentially?
Exactly. That's what happened last time he raised tariffs. It substantially disrupted international supply chains. Let's not forget, so many of our products depend upon imports from foreign lands because they make products a lot cheaper than we do. It's just, you may not like it, but it's just a fact of life. You want to pay more for your television, your cell phone, your automobile. The best way to do that is to impose tariffs. And of course, the foreign countries don't pay the tariffs. That's another big lie that somehow the American people have gotten to believe. Who pays the tariffs, Sam?
The consumer usually,
Yeah,
right?
they just tacked on to the price of goods. So not only will his policies disrupt supply chains, it will directly increase the price of everything because imported goods are just going to become that more expensive. It's simple supply and demand. It's economics 101. You don't have to be a PhD in economics to figure this out. And then there's another way, a third way he's going to increase, or a second way, he's going to actually increase prices, not bring inflation down. You know what that other big way is, Sam? We've talked about it a lot on this show.
Mass deportation.
Yeah. What industries are undocumented immigrants so important for? Start with agriculture. You're
Yeah.
worried about the price of food? Deport the agricultural workers, the cheapest agricultural workers. And you think you're going to just easily replace them? No way. You're going to have to replace them by raising wages substantially. That's going to increase the price of food. Another big industry they're in, construction. You're worried about the price of homes? The premier way of increasing the price of homes is to deport the cheapest part of the construction workforce. Uh, you go to a hotel or a restaurant, who are a lot of the employees, Sam?
Undocumented folks.
Yeah, get rid of them. The prices of food at restaurants, staying in hotels are going to go up. You have a nanny, you have a housekeeper. A lot of those are who, Sam?
Undocumented. Yeah.
Undocumented immigrants. So, if you want a recipe for substantially increasing prices, the two things that would have the most effect on increasing prices is new stringent tariffs and deporting undocumented immigrants. And about these two things, Trump made no bones about it. He told us this is what he's going to do. This is at the forefront of his policies. And for some reason, he got away with it. It was so obvious that those policies were going to increase prices. Again, you don't even need an undergraduate degree. You don't even need to have ever taken a course in economics to know you place tariffs, the prices of the tariffs going to be tacked on to the goods. It's going to increase prices. You throw the cheapest workers out of key industries, it's going to raise the prices of the goods and services produced by those industries. Again, you don't need to be a genius to figure any of this out.
I imagine probably a lot of the things that he's going to do to fix affordability, right? This is one thing that I thought was weird in the campaign. People are worried about affordability. Trump and the right wing are going on and on about grocery prices, obviously. Obviously, now we know they've even admitted you can't really lower grocery prices. I don't even remember what the Democrats' response to that was because their messaging was so bad. But I imagine to combat affordability, especially with grocery prices, Trump's administration will probably try to do the same things that Biden-Harris administration was doing. Trying to make real growth go up, trying to make unemployment go down. These are things that I think they'll just probably keep doing. But the Biden administration, Harris administration was
Already
already
did.
doing
And
them.
they'll take credit for everything that they've slammed the
Right.
Biden
Right. Of
administration.
course.
You say real wages, unemployment, job growth, booming stock market. They'll take credit for absolutely everything.